Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Fore Podcast with your host, Don Julio, and myself, Teeds. Just want to say again, thank you guys for your support on all of our social media pages. They are slowly, still gradually growing. We're up to about 770 subs on YouTube. I think we're at almost 1,600 on TikTok, 170 on Instagram, and I think like 60 on Twitter. I kind of lack on Twitter. Twitter's tough, but it's all fun. It's all for fun. And we enjoy all the support of everyone listening to our podcasts. Really quickly to jump into things, we're going to talk about my round that I had. If you haven't seen it already, I have posted it on YouTube, my under par challenge, where I try to break par from every tee box at Dragonfly. And if you've seen how many tee boxes there are, Dragonfly, there's like 8. Kind of insane. It's ridiculous. I did play another round, and I did not break par from the red tees, and I shot 2 over, and I really had so many opportunities, and I just absolutely blew it. But before I talk about the actual round itself, I feel like the one thing that hurt me the most was the fact that we were waiting for so long. It felt like the round that I played at Riverside a few weeks ago, where I only got 12 holes in because it was taking forever. There was like 3 or 4 six-sums in that group at Riverside, and at Dragonfly this last time there was
six-sums.
Dude, it was their money games. They're like, "Oh, where are our money games, dude?" And it's like, dude, you guys suck. You guys are terrible. Like, it's not like people that are like scratch golfers, that if you have a 6-some, it doesn't matter because they're all playing good golf. They're hitting it about 300 yards, 250. They're moving it down the way and getting everything done. No, these guys are topping the ball off their drives. Guys playing from the blues, he's like topping his thing and barely making it past the women's tees. Like, what are we doing? So that was brutal. Similar situation happened at Dragonfly, where it wasn't that there were groups of more than 4. But it was a crowded day for one, which was rare at Dragonfly. There was a group of 4 ahead of us, and they were playing out every single shot. And there were 3 women and 1 man, and nothing against the women. But when you're that bad, is it really that fun to like take 13 shots and make sure you get the ball in the hole? Like, dude, just move on.
You got to get your money. You got to get your money. You got to get your money.
They got more than that, man. They got their money's worth for like 3 rounds, dude. That's not right. And so fortunately they let us through. And then we get past them. And it kind of turned into a whole who was I telling? I was telling my buddy Kyle, who recorded, so shout out to Kyle for recording, that it reminded me of when you go to slow or when you get on the 5 and you pass an 18-wheeler, because it's really slow, and then you're stuck behind another 18-wheeler. You get in front of that one. No, you're stuck behind another one. No matter what, you're just going to be stuck and going slow regardless. And there was literally like a group of 2, and then in front of them a single, and then a group of 3 ahead of him. And I'm like, dude, why are you not joining up with the other guy?
Why is the single not going with the threesome? That's terrible. That's terrible.
Exactly. We eventually got in with the single, and he was cool. But I was just like, what are we doing here? Like, come on. This is taking forever. And I feel like waiting just so long for each shot was just like definitely throwing me off. Because it's kind of like also like in baseball, when you're a pitcher you're going up against, he walks like 4 straight guys, and you go up there and you're expecting to walk, and he throws 2 straight strikes and you're down in the count, and you swing at ball, and you swing another ball because you're not expecting it. You're like it just effed me over, dude. And what did you think from the video itself, from what you saw? Besides the alignment issues, I know we talked about, but I know about that.
I thought you were hitting the ball pretty pure. There was a few shots that you had that were like really impressive, but also it seemed like once you got to the tee, like, I mean, I didn't see Kyle, but it just seemed like you were in a rush. Like, you're like, all right, let's get moving, let's get going. Like the hole's open, and that's like the only thing that I could say was just, it just seemed like you were like, because you wanted to just kind of get going now that the green was open, now that you could, let driver rip, let your hybrid rip, whatever it was that you're hitting, then it was just kind of like you forgot the little things, right? And that's where I told you, it just seemed like even though you have your foot open and you do normally play that draw, it was like even though your shot on number 9 is the one with the big hillside, right?
Yep.
even your shot on 9, it was like your body was aimed right side of the hole, and then your
Hmm.
face was aimed like another
Yeah, the face was definitely like
yeah,
blocked for sure.
yeah. And so when you hit that, I was just like, oh, like before you even hit, I was just like, oh boy. I even told Adelina, I was like, ball's going right. And she's just like, right.
Yeah.
So, but no, man,
Dude.
I thought you played well. It looked like you were. How were the greens out there? Because you left a lot of putts short. Were they slow, or
The
were you just
greens
like
were
unsure?
slow, dude. The greens were
Really?
so it's two things. So I played with Kyle, and he'd been playing a lot at Riverside, getting ready for that pro-am that they're having, or not pro-am, but the championship that they're having on
Amateur. Yeah.
the amateur they're having on Memorial Day weekend. And he's been playing
Uh-huh.
there a lot. And he says the greens are very, very fast compared to what they are at Dragonfly. They're very, very slow. So I assume they're pretty dang slow. I didn't get any practice putts, which was stupid on my end. But on top of that, shout out to Tony, your buddy Tony. He commented on one of the videos of like how my hands were not parallel or whatever, like with the putter shaft or with the grip or whatever, like my forearms or whatever weren't like. And so I was trying to like move the shaft up a little bit, and because of that, and not having any practice, it's obviously going to feel uncomfortable, right? Compared to where I keep my hands that I'm comfortable with, and I'm more comfortable about like putting from that angle, even though it might not be technically right. And
Yeah.
I was doing that, and I feel like that definitely effed me over in the beginning because I think it was like hole 9 or 10. I was like, screw it, dude. I'm gonna go back to my original putting stroke. Like I just feel so uncomfortable, and it's not helping at all. I mean, if I had enough time to, actually focus and practice my putting, like, dude, I would probably do it, and it might help me in the long run. But even today, I was putting at Dragonfly. I went to the range today just for literally for my short game because I felt like my short game was trash. On my pitch shots and shots off the green were literally like 30 yards away from the hole. I'm like, these are like I might as well have just putted it. It was just so inconsistent. But my putts were so much better today, just going off of what I was used to, where my hands were going to be. And I doubt this played too much of a factor, but Brandon at Avoda, he changed my lie angle. Like he said, he made like a half a degree or maybe a degree to more flat. Because if you look at the videos, I think like my toe is sticking up a little bit with like where my hands are, so it kind of looks like the toes up a little bit. And so I wanted to get that flattened up a little bit, and felt really good. And yeah, I mean, I hit the ball really well with my 3-wood. I was really happy with that. Pitch shots were terrible. I had a few good putts, but I
They
honestly,
just died. They just died right in the heart of the hole. Like the
dude,
one
I've
that
had that
like
happen
the
way
one that
too
you had
much.
on the one that you had on the par 5, where it like just in your takeaway, it looked like you put a pretty good effort on it, and it just died like maybe 3 feet or maybe a foot in front of the hole. I was
Hmm.
like,
Hmm. Yeah,
man, are these greens shaggy or what? Because
yeah,
even your shot on that par 5, where you went over the
yeah.
trees, or no, not over the trees.
So
Yeah, the one that you aim, or the one that you go. The hole is on the right hand side. And it's like the island green type
yeah,
par 5.
right.
Like
Yeah.
like that shot, you hit that 9 iron pure, and literally the amount of like zip that thing
Oh no,
got back was.
that was a 50. That was a 50.
Oh, okay. I thought you
The
said a
50.
9 iron on the mic, but I was
No,
just like,
no.
I was like, holy smokes, dude! I was
Dude, I
like,
got a
dude,
crap load of
yeah,
spin.
yeah, that was pretty good. But yeah, man. I mean, I wouldn't think about it too much. I mean, obviously we've all played slow rounds, before. Like I had a round on, what was it, Monday?
Mhm.
No, yeah, it was Monday. Monday I had a round, and man, I played atrocious.
Happens,
I won $30 but I still shot 83, and I was just like, what the heck? But it was one of those days. It was one of those days where literally it was like, it's a Monday. Like you're expecting it not to be that busy, and it ended up being like
Right. Yeah.
crazy busy. And I was just like, dude, it took us almost 5 hours to play, and
Dude,
I
those
just
are
was like,
insane.
yeah. I mean, we were a foursome. Yeah, we were a foursome pushing on like two threesomes. The threesome was extremely bad.
Mhm.
And then I'm sorry, I don't want to sound like an asshole. They weren't bad, but they were just struggling because it was windy. Two,
Mm.
the greens at the club are rolling at like a 10.5 right now. They're pretty
Oh boy,
quick for what it
that's
is,
tough for
and they
yeah.
and they just verticut them today. Like even when I
Ah,
went out and was rolling the putter with Adelina, like dude, they are quick. I mean, I'm talking like just small little like get your line and it's just gonna go, you
oh
know.
boy, yeah.
Um, so so that happened, and then what else? Um, but we just, I mean, I think the biggest problem, kind of going back to the part, is like one COVID golf, like got COVID got everyone into golf. Okay,
Yeah,
there's a lot of
bittersweet,
people.
right? You got me into golf.
Yeah,
It brought me back. It brought me back.
yeah, it brought you back, but there's just, but like the thing is you have etiquette. Like you understand, like shit, I'm
Mhm.
playing slow. Like I need to pick it up. There's a
Right.
lot of people who just don't know it, right?
Yeah.
And that's on both sides. I mean,
Hmm.
personally, I don't like when people like bash, you know, I'm not picking on you, but I'm just saying like I don't like when people bash female golfers because sometimes, like, dude, yes, it's gonna be slow, but ultimately female golfers are sometimes the best. If you hit like, and again, I'm being very careful the way I'm saying this because I have unfortunately hit into a lot of female groups on accident, you know. But it's like if you're doing it every once in a while, if they see that you're waiting, like they feel more pressure with seeing a group, with seeing a group behind them than they do of being like, wait, we're actually playing on pace, like we're good. It was just, hey, we just
Right.
had good drives, you know. But
Well, I mean, like, I'm not trying to say that it was the girls that was the reason why. They were the group ahead of us that was just they were taking longer. But it could have been four dudes, like when you were stuck behind with three. And if they're slow, they're
yeah,
slow. It doesn't matter if they're guys or girls. I don't really care. But I did notice, I think it was the fifth hole, no, the fourth hole, the short par four. They can kind of hit over those trees. And the one that I thought I hit on the fairway, or sorry, I thought I hit the green. They were driving their golf cart. If you watch the video, they're driving their golf cart
on
behind
the
the green. I thought they
backside,
were already,
yeah,
yeah. And they like looked and they were looking like, and when I saw the video, I was like, crap, that came close. Because when I came up there, they're like, oh, hey, your
yeah,
ball landed over here. I was like, oh, thanks, I appreciate that. Like I had no idea because we both thought that I was on the green. Both thought that I did
yeah,
not hit it there at all. Even Kyle, who had the video recorder, was like, yeah, it looked like you should be on the front of the green, which I clearly hit the back left side, not even the green, and carried
yeah.
it. The wind was going right to left towards the green, so a little bit at my back. But on top of everything else, we had everyone and their mom this weekend was celebrating, what was it, Cinco de Mayo on Friday. And so we had like an event at 6 o'clock. So I was trying to get in as quickly as I could. And I'm like, dude, come on, let's get this done. But like honestly, like I think it's like hole 13. I'm like, I don't even think I'm gonna finish. And then we got to like 16. And I'm like, I gotta finish this. I can't just go 16 holes and just,
Yeah,
not get anything. Like this is a challenge. This isn't just like, oh, we can cut off at 9 and make it something. Like I
yeah,
gotta finish 18. And fortunately, I was able to, but they let me through, and they're cool about it. That group that was ahead of me, but um, yeah, I mean that's also what I want to talk to you about. Like Marshalls, do you still see Marshalls where you're golfing at? Because I haven't seen them at
all the
Riverside.
time. All,
I haven't seen them out here.
yeah,
Kyle says that like they're not as common anymore.
bro. They have. Well, I think here's the thing. The rules, the rules of a marshal have recently changed since 2020. So before it was you could volunteer as a marshal, which is where you
Right.
saw a lot of people who'd come out and you'd have the benefit of playing
Yep.
free golf.
Yep.
Well, now, well now, like I don't know if Dragonflies adopted it or what, but at my club, you have to be on South, like you have to be on the books now, right? Which means that now it's like if you're an older dude, you're already retired. Now you're taking another job and you're at the beck and call of someone else compared to just volunteering your time and just getting the benefits of playing. But at my club, yes, they have a marshal every single day for both courses. So there's
Good.
two
There
guys out
should
there.
be. There should be. Yeah.
The reason why they primarily focus on the north side is because the north side is it's across the street behind the buildings. you can't see who's there. A lot of people
Mm-hmm.
will typically just park at the hotel and then
They
just
just
grab
walk
their clubs
on.
and go. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
they always have a starter there. They always have a marshal there, where at least the pro shop has eyes on the south course and they can kind of see
Gotcha.
who's actually checked in and who's going. But
Mm-hmm.
to answer your question, they always do have a marshal there. They're pretty cool people. I mean, there's one lady who everyone tends to say is like, oh, she's just so mean. And it's like, well, I know the people that she's yelling at, and I'm like, yeah, on par threes, you're the only asshole who drives all the way up to the green to go like park on the other side where there's like a water hazard and trees and like mud, and you're
There's
the
no
only person
GPS.
who takes. No, there's no GPS.
Okay. Okay.
They
I mean, that's
tried
the
they tried
benefit
it
of
for
it, but yeah.
a little bit, but it's just like with the houses, having to go through all the houses and the redwood trees and into a line like the
Uh,
car paths, it's really tight. So it's like
gotcha.
they tried it for a little while, they had it, it was cool, but it was annoying and it slowed down rounds tremendously because if you get to certain spots, it just dies
Back
and
it
then you
up.
can't
Yep.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But like I was saying, the guys who get yelled at, and I have a lot of seniors at the club too, and so it's like these guys, and this course is spaced out. I mean, it's a long walk from cart path to the green, and it's undulated. Like there's hills, and
Right.
so the some of the older dudes definitely get tired, and then you see them parked like on the fringe, and you're like, "What are you doing?" And then they're the first ones to complain when they're like, the course is in absolute dog crap shape. Like the rough is all padded down, like on green
Wonder
side. Like how
why.
is that possible? Yeah, and it's like I wonder why. Like you're the dude
uh,
who has. Oh, dude, there's this guy. There's this guy. Hopefully he doesn't watch our. Hopefully he doesn't watch our podcast. But he's got this. He's got this huge cart. I mean, it's like lifted. It's got the knobby tires, and this sucker flies. Like this dude drives his kids to the school that's right over here in the cart in the morning. You see him, and he's at the club all the time. But he's got
okay.
this big old red shine, like beautiful shiny golf cart. And man, when it like if he leaves his house to go play, he doesn't check in, and he literally just goes on the fairways. And I remember one time I went out and played after like 2 good days of rain, and I got
Mm-hmm.
paired up with him, and I was like, hey, dude, I'm aware of who you are. And he goes, what are you talking about? I'm like, I know what you do to this course when you play. I was like, I was like, don't drive on the fairways, dude. It's beat out here. And he was like, I'm not going to go on the fairways. And I'm like, dude, I know who you are because you're the only person who leaves knobby track marks on this course after a rainy day. I was like, you're the only guy. And he goes, no, man, no. He's like, well, if you want to go by yourself, go by yourself. I'm like, well, first off, we're not going to be able to go by ourselves. It's still like a fairly busy day. Like, I'm just asking you, like, just don't do it. He's like, oh, I'm not going to do it. I was like, all right, cool, dude. Like, I'm not gonna babysit you, but I'm just asking you, just don't do it. What does he do on the first hole? He rips a driver. It's a great shot, but he's on like the far left side because he hit a draw around the tree. He literally goes 90 degrees across, parks his cart, and you can just see like the water just coming up because he's on the low side. And I
Oh
just
boy.
look. I literally just went like this. I just took my hat off, brushed my hair back, and just was like. And then he just looked at me. He's like, "I went 90 degrees," and I'm like, and then what does he do? His cart's so fast that when he turns, it rips. Like it fucking
Oh
rips. And
my
so I just
god.
see like the water just kind of splash, and I'm like, oh bro. I'm like, I'm just gonna keep my mouth shut and just play my round, like whatever. Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's
It
good to
was
know that there are still marshals out there because and it also just shows that Dragonfly is cheap. They charge people $100 to play, but they're not going to have people out there to make sure that the rounds are going quick because who cares? They're banking on people paying for their rounds double the price of what it's worth. It freaking
yeah,
sucks.
dude. That I can't believe the like some of those greens are just like beat up, dude.
Trash,
Like
trash.
yeah, for them to be missing pieces and just be filled up with sand, like especially on that short par four, to still see that after they filled the bunkers, it's
It's
like,
been like 3 or 4 years since they filled that bunker, dude. And
well,
it's like,
but the thing is like you have, first and foremost, you have probably one of the most iconic golfers on live right now who like praises this place because this is where he grew up and played, and it's like he puts you guys on the map. Like if he's doing videos
mhm,
testing out there, like you should invest in making the course look like as if it's a place that a PGA,
right.
slash live
Mhm,
US Open champion winner wants to be at, right? And
$100%.
I think even Kyle spoke about that on the video. He mentioned something about like, they do the
Mhm.
amateur or whatever here, and then it's
Yep.
like then you gotta play on a course like this. Like,
Mhm.
it's like, dude, Dragonfly has so much potential with it being at the distance that it's at. But it's like also if you took care of the course, and here's my other thing. Why do you need two starters on why do you need two starters on the first and tenth hole? I understand there's drinks in there, but it's you could have one person just buy their drinks off the first, or knowing that everyone typically buys before they go in or before they go for
Mhm.
their off the first tee, they go
Right.
inside and buy. Have the guy who's not there, or like after the big wave in the morning, have him start circling around and just tell people, hey, you're 20 minutes behind, you're 5 minutes behind, or
Oh,
whatever.
it's
Like,
easy,
pick it
right?
up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm. Dude,
it's
like
not hard, and it's not
that's the
that expensive
downside
either.
with exactly with Dragonfly, like with how much money they're bringing in. I don't know if I clipped it in the video because for whatever reason, when I edit the part of the what's it called, the golf cart with it shaking so much, I have to stabilize it, and by stabilizing it, it like freezes my computer when I play that section I'm trying to edit. So like I can only watch like a couple seconds at a time before like it freezes again, and I try to catch it what as much as I can, whatever's interesting, and edit out what's not. And I was just like, dude, like the amount of money that they're making here, it's like Nike when they have like I don't know if I caught it. It was like the Sunday Red, where it's like the Sunday Red polos, $120. Why? Because it's Tiger Woods. If it was John Tiedemann, you could sell them for $30 and no one would buy them. But if it's the exact same thing, Tiger can easily sell it because of that. And like you said, with Bryson DeChambeau's name on the course, or with making videos at the course, in the home course, they have that benefit of that. And until people don't go there and they stop going there, or it drops off drastically in the amount of people that play there, they're not going to do a change, and they might actually put money into the course. But until then, why do anything if they can rake in all this money and not put that much money into the course? Like it's the
Well,
freaking
I,
downside.
well, I'm going through like the same thing with with my club with Foxtail, right? Like me and a couple of guys in the men's club were just talking about how literally like a year and a half ago, for a Roner Park resident, was like $40 to play with a cart.
That's
Now
great.
it's up to like $65.
Mm,
And when you play on the weekends, it's like 78. And it's like,
okay.
first and foremost, like I get that the North is like the executive course. That's the course. But the
Hmm.
problem is like they have so many players that go out there. So they do so many tournaments, so many like charity, stuff like that. But they take
Events,
up like
yeah.
all, yeah, they take up like all of the prime times where it's like then you have the seniors group, you have like all the guys who typically play, and they only do one skins game, which is on Thursday, which is like open to anybody, but they don't even block off times for like the men's club skins group. And it's like,
Oh,
dude,
that's annoying.
why don't you take care of your men's club? Like we actually pay, and you know that we're going to be here every weekend. We
Hmm.
do
Hmm.
constant events. Like,
Right,
why
right.
don't you block off times on Saturdays and Sundays for us to be able to have our own game? Right. So it's
Hmm.
like we can leave it open, but it's like the Thursday game is already so popular, but there's not, I mean, it's popular for those who can make it, but they see like maybe 20 people. Imagine if it was on a Saturday and a Sunday, like you could easily get 30 people,
Right.
raise it and do $40, do a $40 buy-in,
Hmm.
give everyone a break by doing like a senior twilight time. So it's like $44 to play, $40 buy-in, 80 altogether. You still make up your money, right?
Easily.
But also here's the best part. The club, they have like the best, they honestly do have a great team in the beverage department. Like They have, Madeline, who's like everybody loves her. Courtney is like the super energetic, like very like, hey, how are you person.
So you just
They're
bake
always
off of
out there.
finishing the round and hanging out at the course after
Yeah,
in the
and
bar.
that's what everybody does. That's what everybody
Hmm.
does. Like they even spiced up the menu to try and keep people there, right? They're gonna like they're gonna renovate the whole thing to kind of make it um more social, like to where it's like it's
Hmm.
more open for people to hang out. But also
Hmm.
they even invested in bringing in Top Golf. So now we have like the Top Golf range or
Oh, nice. Yeah.
range things, right?
The screens.
But
Yeah.
yeah, but it's like with all the extra money that now are going into it, like clean up the South too. Like actually make some improvements on the South course, right? If
Okay.
that's like the course that you want people who are not the best of players to kind of get acclimated, make that part the slow course and let the players kind of play the tournament course. There's a club over here in in Morgan Hill called Coyote Creek. They have
Yeah, I've
two
looked at
they
that.
have two
Yep.
courses, right? They have two courses.
Hmm.
They have the tournament course, which is an absolute beast. If you're playing in the morning, it's the best time to play, but you get out there like afternoon and late afternoon, that
Windy.
wind absolutely destroys you. But if you go
Mm.
play the Valley course, the wind is in your favor, so it makes it fun. Ball goes far, wide open fairways, shaved down rough so you can find your ball,
Mm.
and
Yeah.
it's just a good time. But it's like that's what they got to do. But I don't know. A lot of it has to do with like these management companies, man. Like
Hmm.
now, it all is at their beck
I
and
mean, like
call,
you worked in the industry, so you have a better idea of what other expenses are part of a golf course that someone like me from the outside is like, why don't they like just take how much they're making in range sales for like 3 weeks and just put that into the course, like don't even take what the other stuff is, because you can't tell me that what like if you're paying $100 for 18 holes, what is that, like $6 a hole, technically, maybe something like that. Like
Mhm.
that's freaking expensive. And you're telling me that if you get $100, let's just say $80. Let me do some math on my calculator really quick. Let's just say for tee times, how many an hour would you have? Would it like six? Would that be normal? Like six, like 10 minutes in between, or what's like a increment? Would you say, or the 12, or
I would say like
what's
eight,
normal? Eight?
eight.
Okay. Let's go
Yeah,
60
I
divided
mean, that's
by.
pretty quick.
Okay. Okay. 7.5 times. Let's say, would you say 8 hours of golf throughout the sun that people would start, or would you say like 5 hours of daytime that people start and finish around paying full price?
5 hours full price, then you
Okay,
got to
let's
drop
just
it
go.
as
Let's just
yeah.
let's just go low. That's 37 and a half rounds, meaning at 37 and a half. But then let's go $80 a person. But if you do all foursomes, that's all foursomes times 37.5. And that's just for 5 hours. It's about $12,000 a day just off of golf. No range balls, no drinks, no food, or anything like that. You're telling me that if that is the number, again, that's probably a low number, $12,000 at this course, that you can't put $1,000 or $2,000 extra into just one hole a week or something like that. Just change
No,
something to fix it. Like,
no, you can't, and the truth is, right now, the cost of labor is so high.
is that it?
That's the biggest thing. And here's the other thing: you're not going to get a lot of dudes who are high school kids who are going to want to take on a skill like being a greenskeeper. That's a lot of work, right? I
Oh,
mean,
heck yeah.
and it
Especially in the
and it's
valley.
hard, it's hard to find good people who don't need sponsorship in the valley to work at these places. And that's where the majority of your money goes. Like, here's the other thing. When you're breaking down things from a golf organization standpoint, when you take in all the merchandise costs, you take in all the labor costs, the liquor licenses, the amount of liquor you're buying, the food, like sometimes even though it's $100 that you're paying to play,
Hmm.
they're probably breaking even on the actual cost of the operation because they're trying to keep it reasonable with the cost of inflation and the cost of labor, that it could be close to that. But where a lot of companies, or I'm sorry, where a lot of golf courses, if they do it right, make their money back is on food and booze.
Of
That's where
course,
it
I get
needs.
that.
That's where I was saying, like over at Foxtail, they have it down to a T. Like, yes, we can sit here and complain about courses. We can sit here and complain about course conditions all day, and we think it's so simple because it's like, why don't you just get them to focus on this one thing? Well,
Right.
the problem is that these guys start their day. The maintenance dudes start their day at like
Like
5:30
5.
in the morning,
Right.
4 a.m. when the days are longer, and they're out
Mhm.
there cutting. They're out there cutting greens. They're moving the whole locations, doing everything that by the time we're there, they need to take lunch, right?
Mhm.
That's like a break. So,
Yeah.
and you got to think a lot of these courses are operating with maybe if they're lucky, six. No, I'll say 8 to 6 guys.
Well,
Country clubs,
how often do they put the change the hole? Would you say like at a regular golf course? How often? Like every couple days, a week?
yeah, it's probably every other day that they would probably move it. I mean,
Not
you
a
got to think
dragonfly,
country clubs.
dude. It hasn't
It's
freaking
always the same.
changed. No, no, no.
Okay.
Like they change it. They change it, yes, but I'd say it's at least 4 to 5 days at least before you actually like, oh, like you're driving in and you see that
Well,
par
here's the
five.
thing.
So
Here's the thing. But you always play on the weekends, right? So the weekend pins never change. Like like they try and move them around, but it's like they're not going to move a lot.
but I mean I'm on a Wednesday and if I went on a Friday in the afternoon, like
They're still
that
the
should be what,
same.
4 or 5 days. They have not changed.
Well, then
I
maybe they're
mean, it is
operating
what
with
it is.
an even
Every
smaller
every
team.
every course is different, but how
Yeah.
many people would a country club have that work on the greenskeeper?
So like when we were at Boulder, we had at least at the peak we had at least 15 dudes, and then as we started to migrate into like a hospitality club with the Bay Club merger, we got down to like, I'm sorry, what did I say? We had 15?
15? Yeah.
No, we had like 20 dudes, and then it got down to like 12. And
Oof.
then those guys were stretched. Like
Oh, I bet.
we had one cart engineer to where we had like a cart that like
Mm,
we had some guy who was a little too drunk and took it over the cliff. Like I mean, there we had this par 3 that was like 230 yards between rocks, like onto like a rock quarry green, right? Like you couldn't go long or else you'd hit off the rocks. You could not go left or else you're going into the forest. But we hosted an Audi tournament at the club, and these guys got so hammered they went down like our version of Embarcadero, right, or Lombard Street, like in San Francisco.
okay.
And I don't know if they took the governor off or what, but they hit the curb. The cart ejected them. Dude's leg is like this. Dude's leg is bent like a V, and the cart is just pinned against the tree, like nose down. Like the cover is just smashed in. We got rental clubs that are broken all over the place,
Daryl, walking
and
off. You're good.
pick it up. I'm good.
Come on,
Mark me down for a
they
double.
can't see us like this. You can't see us like this. Get out,
Yeah,
man.
yeah. Mark me for a double. I'm gonna
Oh
sit this
my
one out.
gosh, that's
But
insane.
like, dude, it was like I just remember showing up to the scene and like this guy was just yelling like my leg, because dude, his leg was literally like kneecap was just like this,
You
and
know how
so
your knee's supposed to go like this? Well, it goes like
yeah,
that. Like,
yeah, he was messed up, and like like they had to uh they had to
airlift
cart
them
him
out.
out. No, they didn't airlift him, but they carted him out, and it was just bad, dude.
How
And
was the last round of your life, dude? Was it worth?
yeah, yeah. I just remember everyone was like, "We need to get all the details on these guys. We need to get all the cards." And I just remember everyone went into a panic after that. Like we started asking members for like their driver's license for carts, and
Oh
I'm like,
man,
"What?" I'm like, "What is this? A public course?" I'm like, "We have all of these guys' information from their social securities to like
that
their
should be
home
all you
addresses,
need, man.
their
That's
their
insane.
LLCs." It's literally like, why are we asking members to have their guests give us their driver's license and register for their carts? Like screw it, like put an email out, let the members know that if you have a guest who is too
Hmm.
intoxicated to operate a golf cart, you need to do the responsible thing as a member and tell that person to go inside. Like
Or you're
simple.
going to be charged. You're going to
Yeah,
be
or
held
your account will
responsible
be
for that.
charged. Exactly. But
Yeah, simple.
yeah, man. I mean, again, going back to the piece, like I know it's getting expensive. I think everyone feels that everything is getting expensive, but it's like when it comes to golf, golf is one of those sports where it's like if things are great, things are really great. But if things are starting to get like a little bit more tight for them, everybody feels it. But people just are
Mhm.
willing to pay it because it's like it's golf, you
Right.
know?
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's a good spot and good time to pivot. We talked about that for a long time, which was great. Good. Talking off topic a little bit, but did you catch any of the LIV Singapore tournament
Of course
at
I
all?
did. That was an awesome tournament. That opening hole where they had like people performing and
Dude, that was
doing like the
insane.
dance. Dude, that was so sick. It's like why don't you do that when you go to Hawaii? Why don't you have everyone just performing like doing like a haka dance or something, right there, or doing a little luau, dancing off the first tee, doing something. Like it's like that got people excited. Like, and dude, it was like another record breaking attendance
Mm-hmm.
for Live. And I don't know about you. I know Patty O'Shea spoke about it on his TikTok, but it was like I don't know what the PGA is doing. I don't know what some of these guys who are on the PGA are doing, but it's like there wasn't a single person that I saw on that leaderboard that I was like, "Oh, I know that guy." Like it took me a while. I had to like Google some
Yeah.
people
Oh
and
yeah,
try and figure things
exactly.
out.
Dude,
But it's
yeah.
like look at Liv. You had Rom up there.
Mm-hmm.
You had who's
Obviously, Kefka.
the yeah, obviously you had Kepka, but who's the dude who won the Open? Uh,
Dustin Johnson.
well, Dustin was up there, but the
Oh,
Australian guy.
oh no, wait. Oh,
They're not Australian.
Jason Day. That you're talking about?
No,
Or are you
not
talking about
Jason.
Liv?
No, no,
You're
no.
talking about Liv, right?
I'm talking about Liv. I'm talking about Liv.
So if it's Liv, you're talking about
He
Cam
has the
Smith.
mustache with the mullet. The mustache
Cam
with the
Smith.
mullet. What's his name?
Yeah, Cam
Cam
Smith.
Smith. Yeah, yeah. I was totally blanking
Hmm.
on his name. Yeah, you
Right.
had like it was like all the people
You
that you
had a
know that it was like
leaderboard. You
yeah,
had a stacked
yeah.
leaderboard. What people want to see. And first off, did you see that Taylor Gooch got an offer or got an invite to the PGA Championship next weekend? I thought that was
Hmm.
awesome. I'm starting to see a lot of these stupid troll things on on Facebook, which they know that I'm going to get baited every time I comment on these things, where someone's like, "I thought Taylor Gooch said he wasn't going to play in the U.S. Open," and I commented, "I'm like, no, that he said he's not going to go the extra steps to try and qualify like people have to because he doesn't get the World Golf rankings. This is for the PGA Championship, different thing. Of course, he's going to take the invite." Uh, I was stoked for him to see him get that. Now he has to ball out, or he's going to be eating so many words. Everyone's going to be trolling him if he does not make a cut, if he doesn't play well, and
Yeah,
he's kind of put it on himself.
yeah.
But I do want to talk about this really quickly. It was funny because I got, people are like, you send memes and things in certain posts on like Instagram to people. You see something, you send it to them, something that relates to him. One of my buddies, Scott Shields, sent me this thing, and I thought it was you. And so I responded thinking it was you. And it says nuclear golf. It was like buying up courses. LIV CEO Greg Norman says that the league could be looking to purchase golf courses that will serve as home clubs for teams. Think about LIV owning all of their golf courses, with each team having a home venue and they host. And now you can build out around that. Dude, we talked about that like a year ago. Remember, I brought that up. Like,
Hmm.
dude, you got to have like the South American team, have a thing in Chile or a thing in South America, Australia. We talked
Yeah.
about this, and I literally I messaged back going, we literally talked about this like a year ago, and then he liked it, and I'm like, oh crap, my bad. I thought this was my buddy I did the podcast with. My bad. But like, how crazy is that? Like, wait, I doubt that anyone's listening, but I mean, a little ahead of the curve. Call me a conspiracy theorist because we're just a few months ahead of the curve, but I thought it was pretty
Yeah, I
cool.
mean, yeah, that episode we had, you sent me that and I read into it and it was like, I think I messaged you back saying, yeah, we were pretty spot on. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
like again, I think the biggest thing that not only we're complaining about, but also what's been said through the fan base of the PGA for the longest time is like the route, I mean, people only look forward to the majors. Other than that, it's just like the courses are the same. There's nothing super
Mm-hmm.
spectacular. It's like
Mm-hmm.
what's stopping the PGA from saying like, okay, Winty Vineyards, like your course plays at 7,800 yards. It's a real pain in the butt to play. Like, sure, we'll give you another shot to host an event, right?
Yeah.
Or hey, Cordoval, like you did such an amazing job with the LPGA. Why don't we host a men's event for you and see how our guys host out there? Like, there's so many like incredible
Dude.
country clubs that just are
Yes.
not getting any attention because these other clubs are just grandfathered into this list. And again, like this is where I think we're seeing it. We're seeing it with the way that this country's ran. We're seeing it with older companies that are in the enterprise space, even in tech and doing whatever, as well as the PGA and in sports, where you got these dinosaurs that are still running their job titles, but there's just no innovation. Like they're at a point where it's like we just want to keep things the same because we're racking it in. I got a great pension, I got a great 401k that's going to be paying me out for the rest of my life. Like I don't want to change anything, but it's like you have a whole nother generation that's coming up that wants that loves the game just as much as the people who you got to witness love the game. We want to see the new players that are rising to who is going to compete with the GOAT, right? Who is going to be that guy, right? We have Scotty Scheffler, who everyone's been talking about, but also he's not going up against the Brooks Koepka anymore. He's not going up against John Rahm anymore. He's not going up against DJ. He's not even going up against Phil, who I think is still a very valid contender because the dude is healthy. He hasn't had any surgeries. He didn't have any sex addictions. He didn't have anything that got him into trouble.
And he's won the PGA Championship a few years ago, over 50, right? And then he also was like runner-up in the Masters a few years ago, so he still can hang around.
He can still hang around, but I'm just saying, it's kind of going back to another episode where we spoke about like there could be a chance that the PGA ends up becoming like the minor leagues to LIV, and LIV is the real prize winner. Like that's what it's turning into because it's like, dude, Jordan Spieth, Justin Thomas, like. Were you guys ever as good? Man. Well, it's like, were you guys ever as good as as everyone thought you were? Or did you just have some good fluke plays? Because now it's like your guys' game is absolutely not that I can really say, but it's just like the way that they've played the last few.
If you're comparing them to the pros and what they played at the peak, yes, comparing it back to that, yes, not comparing it to your game or like talking like that.
I mean,
not trying to disrespect with them, but had their peaks and where they were. To where they have been recently. I think
where they've been at their peaks, right? Where they've been at with their peaks, it's just there's that expectation of like, dude, you absolutely dominate like here. Like why? Like what are you doing so differently with your game? And just now see like guys like, like I don't even remember half of the names that are up there on the PGA list, but to see some of these guys, it's just kind of like, who is this guy? Right.
Well, yeah, I saw this other stuff talking about the fact that Rory McIlroy, I think it was last episode or the episode before, how he was supposed to join the PGA Tour Policy Board, but now he's not joining the board anymore on the PGA Tour for whatever reason. And they're making it sound like having Rory would be huge and that would really help strong arm LIV somehow. And now with Rory not wanting to do it, the people that are there aren't going to be able to benefit or help the PGA Tour. So I completely agree and think that, like, I just want the best golf ever. I don't care if it's LIV, I don't care if it's PGA. I would just want the best golf, the best golfers playing a lot constantly, right?
But see, that's the thing. Like to your point of Rory becoming a part of the board for what? Like, dude, go finish the Grand Slam. Like, actually win something. Like, quit getting into the politics because that's not what you're there to do. You're not benefiting anybody because you're your ideology is just it's very one directional. You're not really seeing what it's actually doing for the game because you're just you're just an originalist. Like you've seen it for one way for so long that you've drinking the full glass of Kool-Aid and you're like, PGA is everything. Well, it's
completely benefited him, right? So like he's in such a what do you call it? he's such an outlier, right? Like him,
Yeah.
Tiger Woods, Jack Nicklaus, they're such outliers because 99.9% of golfers don't live that way or play that well or have all those sponsorships or automatically make their cuts or have that money that's constantly coming in. So it's kind of like you mentioned now, like politicians, they don't live our normal lives like you and me on a day-to-day basis. They don't see what you see at the grocery store because they have people buying it for them. They have like hired security. They have all these other things that regular everyday citizens don't, that like when they go and do something, it's like, you don't understand what I'm going through. So why are you trying to tell me what to do when you don't even know how everybody else is living? So
my job pays me $150,000 a year. How come I don't have security either? Oh, because I'm actually not making $150,000. I'm actually doing some crooked stuff with taxpayer money, and I'm making $4.3 million.
Right? Yeah. Let's not get into that. But yeah, exactly. I mean, you can all see the writing's on the wall, but yeah, it's just like, it's always interesting when you have people like that trying to act like they know what's best for everybody when it doesn't apply to them, and they don't really know.
They have no idea. They have no idea. It's like
they could have started
your
from
boss.
A kid. Yeah, go for it.
They could have, but again, when you're a kid or in your 20s, like trying to figure out life. Yes, you want to be involved because you're trying to understand what the people want. You're trying to learn these things, but then once you get in that place of power, right? You get that place of power, and like you can manipulate it. It's kind of like you just stop caring because now you're coasting. Now you've kind of gotten where you want to be, and you're just like, I'm just gonna.
You sign that massive contract. You don't need to even sit back. You don't have to.
Yeah. It's like
go all out.
It's like I'm just gonna do the bare minimum of what my job is asking me to do, and I'm gonna delegate everything to everyone else, right? And it's like it's the same thing, right? Like it's if you think about it in corporate America, right? If you're the dude who's hustling, who's grinding, who's getting in front of clients, who's doing all this stuff that you need to do, and then your sales manager comes up to you and says, "Hey, man, like this deal's been in negotiation for 3 months. Like what's going on?" It's like still in conversations with them. They just haven't made a decision yet. Well, what are the blockers? What do you mean? What are the blockers? We're just trying to figure out price. That's why it's at negotiation. Like we're still just trying to figure out what is it that they want to do, because as a business partner to them, I can't say that my product's going to fulfill what they want until they actually know what they want. So they're happy with what we offer. They're happy with the presentation. They're cool with the pricing, but they need to figure out where are they going and what do they want to pay for it. Simple.
And if the person's been so removed from that for so long, they totally forget about the ins and outs and the little things that happen that you see on a day-to-day basis, because it's nothing against them. It's just you don't know what you don't know when you're out of it for so long. It's like it's normal. It'll happen to anybody.
Yeah, or the most annoying question, that you'll get sometimes is, where's this deal at? And it's like, go look at my notes on Salesforce or HubSpot.
What's the reason for putting notes if you ask for them and you don't even look at them? Oh my gosh, we could talk about that another day. Just in the workforce, just how the higher ups, man, just think they know everything, but they really have no idea, and they're just trying to push blame on the lower people and never put blame on themselves. That's pretty much corporate America 101.
Yeah, well, and it's also like what we just spoke about, right? Like, if you're young, you're hustling, you're getting what you need to do to get to where you want to be, right? It's changed since you were last there. Like there's a whole bunch of new technologies that people are using to try and get that first meeting. Like you may have started at knocking at people's doors. Well, I use ChatGPT to kind of customize my entire messaging and tailor it to what John is wanting.
Right. Right. Mm-hmm.
It's not just
the game's changed everything, dude. But yeah, I mean, it's interesting. But yeah, like we mentioned before, like PGA Tour this weekend. I think Pendrith.
Is it the Wells Fargo?
No, not this weekend. But I mean, like the previous weekend.
Oh
Taylor.
Taylor.
He was like a Canadian.
Taylor. Yeah, Canadian dude. Yeah, Taylor.
Canadian dude. He won. And the only thing is, though, I will say before we wrap up this podcast is what I'm looking forward to. I'm hoping that I'm able to actually catch some of it. But this weekend they do have the Myrtle Beach tournament that they're having. It's one of those split ones where they have some of the higher ones at one tournament and some of the other pros at another one. or some of the top pros aren't even playing because they're preparing for Valhalla, the PGA Championship the next weekend. But this is the weekend where the Bryan Bros are going to be playing, or at least George Bryan with that tournament that they had. So I'm really looking forward to hopefully catching some of that and hopefully seeing him there and not some random clip from someone's phone showing that they saw him, because the PGA Tour was not showing that, because YouTube golf is taking off, and I hope our channel does take off, because, I mean, dude, it's taking off. Like, the amount of kids that are, like, putting stuff out there, and you don't even have to be good. Like me, for example, you don't have to be good. You have to be somewhat entertaining. Unless like you're a stick and you're just really fun to watch because you're so good. Like, you literally can just be entertaining, like Bob does sports. Joey Coldcuts can't hit a wedge to save his life still, and all he does is golf. You know?
Or you could be as monotone as Kyle Berkshire, but hit the ball 500 yards and just be the
exactly.
most, you know,
and jaw dropping.
Yeah. I mean, that's the one thing is like I can't, like, I like Kyle Berkshire, but like I can't sit there with the volume on when he talks, because it's just like, yeah, so here we are, you know, we're gonna hit this 2-iron 360 or 320 yards. Then I should have like a simple 50-degree from, you know, 300 yards out, Cinderella kid.
Like, I mean, imagine him just be like, so I'm gonna smash this thing. Oh my gosh, I piped that. Oh
yeah,
you know, like every like shot that he hits, like that would be cool. It's entertaining. Like that's what gets people going. Like, no one watches like reaction videos for someone. Right. No one watches a reaction video for someone like, oh, I drained a 70-yard putt for eagle. Nice, let's go. It's like, you got to have the guy riding the bowl. Happy you doing the dang bowl? You look like a dang fool, you know? Like,
yeah, exactly.
But, you know, I really hope we're able to see some of that, because I'd love to see George Bryan, because he's a stud, dude. He's a stud. He's a good dude. And I remember in some of his videos, he's even talking like, sorry, I got Miss Rachel stuck in my head. If anyone's got toddlers, you understand.
Yeah. Well, let me ask this last question. So him and his brother are sponsored by Tacoma Irons. Tacoma Irons have been getting a lot of attention from, you know, Claire Hogle, Sabrina. I don't even know how to say. I'm not even going to attempt to say her last name.
Well, I think it was Busted Jack started it, and then the Bryan Bros got onto it, and that's all that I've known that have done it, and I have heard that as well.
No, so Busted Jack had they've had PXGs for like the longest time.
Yeah, right.
But
right.
I don't think they ever had Tacoma Irons. I think the guys who got it
just this year.
Oh, so their PXG is done.
I don't know, because I don't know what they use. I think it is because they use other clubs, because I think Tacoma or whatever only uses iron or makes irons, right?
Yeah,
so they need other clubs for like the Woods and things like that, which I think one has like a Callaway or TaylorMade. So yeah, I think they're done with PXG.
Yeah, well, Tacoma, or I hope I'm saying it right. Tacoma. They have woods now. They have a 3-wood, they have a driver, and they have wedges now. So you can get a whole set. But what my question is if George Bryant does good, like, do you think there's going to be a spike in the cost of those irons? So it's like how it's been. Do you think so? Because their whole thing,
a price, or you mean like they're going to do much better in business?
So the reason why those clubs are so popular is they're $500. Yeah, they're $500 for their players club, and I think they're $499 or $399 for like their player improvement. And they don't charge any extra for the upgraded shafts if you wanted to put like C tapers in there, right? But they're super affordable and they're good irons. I've hit them. A guy that I play with in my men's club, he has them, and they're pure. Like, looking at it from a top line, like, they look really good. It actually reminds me a lot of like a Mizuno, right? From the top line on the 7-iron. I mean, it's a blade.
I've seen them, but
they look good. But what I'm curious about is, are we about to see something where kind of like the Avoda irons, right? Price point just jumped up, you know, and people are going to get excited because it's like, whoa, this YouTube guy went and played on the PGA event, competed with these irons, and did super well. I'm just curious.
I think it'll definitely spike for sure if one of them wins 100%. I don't think they're going to raise the price for the irons, but I mean, like I went in to see Brandon today at their Avoda headquarters in that little tent, and he was like, "Dude, we just got all of our brand new heads back," and he's like, "Dude, these things are like flat." I forget. I didn't even ask how much they sold their bronze or rose gold iron that they had. They had like a bid for it, and it like started at $5,000, and it was at least like at $6,500 for like a set of irons and wedges. And it might seem like a lot of money, but they also said you can get whatever shafts you want in these clubs. So if you wanted to, you get like the best of the best shafts that they offer, which is like LA Golf, which the shafts could be like $200 each. And so they put that into the price point before they started the bid. Like, hey, if you went this route, we still be making a little bit of money off of it instead of putting a bid for $2,000, someone winning and they eat $3,000, just based off of someone putting in the most expensive shafts. But yeah, I think so. I mean, I did see like my neighbor who has a golf simulator. One of his buddies brought it out, and he's like, they give you a 7-iron, and you can try it for 30 days and see if you like it. And if you don't like it, you send it back. And if you do like it, they send you the rest of the clubs. And he was trying it out. It looked pretty cool.
Dude, we should talk to Brandon and see if we can get like an official sponsorship and see if they'd back some of the Avoda irons for us, and basically we just promote them and say, hey, let's have Four Dads be the first real
sign me
affiliated marketing team for you guys.
Have like Avoda right here on the side.
Yeah,
on the hats.
Yeah,
that'd be dope. But yeah, we can definitely talk about that, dude.
Or stay fly and go low with Avoda.
Let's do it. I mean, jump on that ship now. That's for sure.
Avoda confidence.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. I'm gonna throw that his way, but I'm gonna wrap up the podcast tonight. Thank you guys for watching. If you guys enjoy this and you're watching on YouTube, definitely hit that like button. If you haven't already rated us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, please let us know what you guys think. But that is it for us tonight. Stay fly and go low, and we'll see you guys next week.